That's right. I stopped drinking coffee for 30 days after decades of having daily coffee of 1 to 3 cups and some decaf and other stuff on top of that. I wanted to share how that went, so let's just get into it. Hey, I'm Adam with the Productivity Academy, and I wanted to share what I recently did with taking 30 days off with no coffee. And yes, to be complete about this, no caffeine. I believe I ended up having one of those energy goo packets on a long run that turned out to have some caffeine in it, but other than that, truly did not have caffeine. So why did I do this, and why might you be doing this? Honestly, I was curious. We were looking at ways, my wife and I, to improve sleep, and we thought, you know what, this would be an interesting test to do. As far as we know, and looking around, listening to some podcasts, doing some reading, there's been, no positive sleep benefits tied to caffeine, which is not to say that there's no positive uses for caffeine, for coffee, things you can do with that. Great for improving focus, some other things. But as far as sleep is concerned, believe that there is nothing positive ever shown, which kind of makes sense. So we were like, you know what, let's just give this a shot and see how we feel. So overall, I'll give you the bottom line up front with the sleep. We honestly didn't see a lot of changes. And, we use Garmin watches. These aren't perfect, but it does give us some insights into things like heart rate variability, a sleep score that includes some things like that, our energy levels. And overall, we didn't see major changes. During the course of doing this, I did have a lot of travel. We went out for drinks one time with friends, definitely had too much, woke up the next day dehydrated and wanted a coffee so bad. But I'll get into that. Okay, so here's a maybe not so great montage of what it felt like for me for the 30 days. Now, I did keep a coffee, or rather no coffee log of about the first 2 weeks. And after that, it was just kind of the same. So anyways, this is going to be a reproduction of how that actually looked. All right, I got this. Not too bad. Why? You know what? I really miss coffee. Really, 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 really miss coffee. All right, I got this. But God, how many days do I have left? I think I can do this. Okay, I think I've felt the benefits. I get what's going on, but oh my God, why did I choose 30 days again? Yay, another week without coffee. Okay, this actually isn't that bad, and I could probably keep it going, but I really would like to go with just 1 cup a day. Yes, tomorrow. Okay, so all of that aside, what did I learn about this? The big thing for me was that I really missed the habit. Included in that, definitely the taste. I'm sure that, the use of caffeine, I enjoy it. I know that I like how I feel after I have a cup of coffee, but I really did miss the habit. And if I was going to try and quit for good, that I would not go cold turkey. I would slowly ramp down caffeine. Medical disclaimer, I am not a doctor. If you're going to go do this, you should definitely consult with somebody if you have concerns about it, or if you're a heavy coffee drinker or other forms of caffeine, this is something you may want to look into as far as ramping down. But something that did help me succeed, talking about the habits, and I think this is important, is that habit stacking and replacement helped me succeed and go the 30 days with no caffeine without, major problems besides just wanting to drink my coffee. So an example being like getting up in the morning, and instead of just not having anything, I swapped out decaf. All right. So I'm not stopping also our habit. We go out for coffee and a walk on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We still did that. We would just go get decaf. And that seems simple, but having a plan in place for that is really important instead of just you're breaking that habit, which can be really incredibly hard to do depending on how long you've been doing it. So make sure you have something to swap out. If you don't want to use decaf and you're a coffee drinker for whatever reason, maybe you could replace it with a tea. You're just kind of keeping that same thing going, so you're not just feeling like, oh, there's these massive changes going on. Now you're just dealing with the missing of the caffeine. Something else, I think thinking ahead to situations where you might be tested. I mentioned this briefly, but my 30 days that I did this, I traveled. I was away from home a lot, went out. I mentioned this, but I had too much to drink with friends on a happy hour to the point where I felt dehydrated. And then the next day, just really wanting coffee. That was kind of the normal thing to do. Went on road trips. We drove long distances. And without a plan, it would have been really hard. But again, kind of keeping to our processes of like, hey, we're on the road, but we still go out for coffee on these mornings. So we just make it a decaf. We make sure that we had things with us to drink. We brought some tea, things like that. So I think that if you approach it like that, this can be really not quite as difficult once you get over the initial physical issues that you might have, whether that's headaches or, just the longing you're missing, sitting down in the habit. So again, just dealing with the habit will help you out quite a bit. So I also wanted to touch on what I got out of this, because it sounds like it could just be a lot of pain and suffering and being miserable. But it was really interesting to find out a lot of the times I felt like I needed caffeine, like, oh, a cup of coffee is exactly and the only thing that will make me feel better or whatever it is. It's just a feeling. So like, for example, getting up and moving can provide some stimulus. Maybe I'm feeling kind of tired in the early afternoon, mid-afternoon. Getting up, go for a walk. Just move around, do something. And I found that what I like is the habit or the process. So, I try and drink something else now instead of fully caffeinated coffee. Sometimes I like to have a drink in the afternoon. And so I'll either at home or going out to a coffee shop, maybe do a half calf or just go decaf or have a tea or something else. And a lot of it is wrapped up in the habit. And just as kind of where I've gone with this now, I still drink coffee, but I've gone to 1 cup of regular coffee or espresso drink per day. So if you're interested, in seeing what your life could be like without caffeine, if you're interested in trying this out, then really I challenge you to try going without your coffee, not for 30 days, but for 14 days. You can see the benefits. You can get all of the benefits of getting it kind of out of your system. You're going to fully reset. And you don't need to go for, twice that period. If you want to do 30 days, you can, but I really do challenge you for 2 weeks to give this a shot. That's more than enough time to fully reset and see what you're like without it. Whether you want to see if your sleep will improve or lower feelings of anxiety, or you're just curious to see what you're like without caffeine, I would say do it with the help of a guided 14-day challenge and give yourself the best shot at success. I've got a link down to the No Coffee Challenge. You can find it at productivity.academy/no coffee. Give it a shot.